The Sunday Roundtable is reported for duty this morning. We're joined by Democratic political analyst Marianne Marsh, Republican political analyst Rob Gray. Guys, you just heard the mayor. Marianne, let me start with you. Is this a third-term mayor talk, or is this a I'm leaving town and going to Washington talk? What did you hear?
I think this is like politics, like life is about having options. Marty Walsh has options. I mean, he is the mayor of Boston. He could be the Secretary of Labor. And when you look at the fact of his background, you got to think of everyone being discussed in Massachusetts. He's got the best shot. He was a union member and a union leader. He was a state rep advocating for unions, and then he was a mayor negotiating with them. He's got Rich Trumka of the AFL-CIO and Randy Weingarten of the AFT both backing him. So don't be surprised if he gets picked. And if he doesn't, don't be surprised if he goes for a third term and is successful there, too.
My wife always says you need options in life, Rob, and she's right.
Listen, I think the mayor would have a relatively easy victory if he stayed here. So he's not a mayor who's looking for an appointment in Washington. But I think that Biden may well want him, and I think it's very difficult to say no to a president. So if the mayor gets that call, who knows? He may want to serve his country. He could certainly be a big asset to the Biden administration, where you saw white middle class voters, many in urban settings, deserting Biden for Trump. And Biden will need to get those back, or Harris.
Speaking of Washington, Governor Charlie Baker is using terms like baseless claims and wildly inappropriate to describe President Trump's refusal to accept election results. Has the governor solidified his reputation as a rhino, at least enough to make him attractive to Joe Biden? Rob, start with you.
I mean, he's been beating the drum for 4 years against Trump. I hope he's solidified it at this point. I mean, first off, he's right. And we need more Republicans to say what Governor Baker has said. You've seen a few start to trickle out. This is a Trump fantasy about voter fraud. I think most Republicans think that. Unfortunately, there are still some in Washington who are kowtowing to Trump, and it's time for that to stop.
Do you go with a conversation about whether Joe Biden might be interested in his administration?
I think this is less about going to Washington and more, let me trot out all of my political adages today. Revenge is a dish best served cold. I mean, Charlie Baker, this is just an appetizer. Trump threatened to put Marie Yovanovitch through some things, and he put Baker through some things. So I say, let yourself go, Charlie Baker. Tell us what really happened. Biden's going to be president. Now's the time to unleash yourself, because we all deserve to know all the bad things that Donald Trump did.
But do either of you think that Joe Biden would actually pick him to do something for the administration?
I think it's unlikely, and it's not why Baker is doing this. I think Baker's just speaking the truth and how he feels.
I agree with Rob.
Next item, the House has a budget amendment to allow abortions after 24 weeks and allow 16-year-olds to have the procedure without parental consent. Marianne, let me start with you. Does this have likely political support in Massachusetts?
Oh, no doubt about it. I mean, the fact is it passed 108 to 49. The shock is there were 49 representatives opposed to it. I mean, if men had any part of their health care or bodies regulated by the government, it would have been 157 to nothing. So given the fact that conservatives now are the majority in the Supreme Court, likely to get rid of Roe v. Wade, you have to do these in the states, and we're fortunate that Massachusetts will do it.
Rob?
Well, so you see a third of the House being against it, including some Democrats. I do think so that's a third, but I do think it has broad political support in Massachusetts. It seems to be consistent with Governor Baker's long-term pro-choice policy. I doubt that he'll veto if it gets to him.
Secretary of State Bill Galvin this week scolded not only Republicans, but also his own party for the chaos over allegations of voter fraud in counting ballots. Mostly this is out of state. He said Republicans should stand up to the president and Democrats should be more assertive. Are Democrats letting themselves be steamrolled, Marianne?
Galvin's right. I mean, the fact is Democrats have wildly underestimated how corrosive all this talk is about our democracy. And they underestimated the same thing when it came to defund the police or socialism. It hurt in red to blue states, and we lost a bunch of members of Congress, and the same in Miami-Dade. So I think Democrats just voting on November 3rd was the first step. Winning 2 seats in Georgia is the second step to getting our democracy back. The third step in a long-term project is reminding the 70 million people who voted for Donald Trump what a democracy is.
Rob, should both parties be stronger on this issue at this point?
Well, I have to say, wait a second, okay? Not Bill Galvin, but many national Democrats said if there's razor-thin margins in presidential states that are competitive, which there were, look out, the Russians are going to steal this election. They're going to be inside our voter systems and everything else. Well, guess what? It didn't happen. There were razor-thin margins. Joe Biden got in, even though the Russians preferred Trump. So, I mean, enough of this nonsense.
I'm going to cop to being guilty on the last 4 years talking about Russia affecting the 2016 election, and I will still be right. But those weren't razor-thin margins. They were 5 figures plus. And in any recount, any circumstances, the most votes you change is 400, 200 to 400. That's it. Not even a close contest.
These recounts won't change it, no question about it. But it's just funny that all of this foreign intervention in elections, just poof.
I put you to the bipartisan Senate committee that said that was absolutely the case in 2016.